I am ready when you are.
I believe we're ready to get started, Dr. Smith.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being here today. This is an excellent crowd. They tell us that the face-to-face workshops sometimes only had 1 or 2 people. So thank you for coming. And we hope that you'll find out some information today that will be encouraging to you as far as participating in the Student Research Conference, which is coming up in April. I'll just briefly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Candy Smith, and as you can, well, I'll show you on the screen in a moment. I am a literacy professor in the College of the School of Teacher Ed. Let me share my screen here. And do know something about writing, and so I was asked to do this workshop, and I'm very glad to do it. Can you see my presentation now? I'm going to go into presentation mode.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I see a couple of head nods. Okay. I've had a little bit of an issue with my Wi-Fi. I taught this morning online, so maybe somebody can just let me know if we start to freeze up too much, but I think we should be okay. So I'm Dr. Candy Smith, and this is the workshop for writing and submitting an abstract. And as I said, I'm in the School of Teacher Ed. I'm a professor of literacy. And what we are going to talk about today is writing your abstract, because that's the first thing that you submit, and that's the submission that you make so that we can review your submission and situate you correctly in the conference. It is your first interaction also with your participants as far as your research is concerned. So it's short, but it's very important. And I will say this too, last time when we did this same workshop one time before, and there are people possibly here that what you want to propose is not as much research as it is design or development, and I'll address that as we go through. I think you'll see that most everything I say, as far as including because of your research, you'll also be able to adapt that, but I'll directly address that after we go through just a few components. So writing an abstract, and some of you have probably written an abstract before. I have no doubt that you've read abstract. That's usually the little blurb that comes before a journal article, and they might seem easy to write, but they're really difficult. And I say that not to put you off, but to encourage you that if you struggle with this a little bit, that would be expected, because summarizing important work to you and to others in a short 200-word or less abstract is not always easy. So I'll walk you through a few things, and then, like I said, there'll be time for questions. So possible sections to include. Now, this doesn't mean you have to have all of these, but possible sections to include, and I'll let you look at that list. And then we'll talk about each one of these. So if you have a research question, you would start out by explaining the focus of your research, and you might even include the question, but you might just make the question into a statement and then explain what your work addresses. But those of you who might be more ready to submit or propose a design or development, you don't necessarily have to have a research question, but just same thing. What's your focus and what does your work address? And I'll show you an abstract from an earlier conference in just a few minutes, and you'll see exactly what I mean, I think. Then always, of course, we want to know the purpose, explain the importance of your work. Why did you choose to do this work? What group might you be helping? What population? What might you be adding to what is already out there as far as this particular topic is concerned? And then usually, especially if it's a research project, we like to see your methodology. The quantitative or qualitative? Did you use surveys or interviews? How did you collect your data? Who were your participants? And again, if you're developing something or designing something, you'll still have some, who are your participants and have you collected any data? Probably the others, although you might have quantitative versus qualitative and sometimes mixed. So again, make that little bit of a shift, and then I'll make it for us near the end of the presentation. And then what information have you collected? What are your results, or what are your data? And you may not have any. I've noticed in some of the abstracts that I've looked at, even working toward this presentation, that you don't always have collected data at this point, but you want to go ahead and put your proposal out there so that people can see the research that you are going to conduct. And then we really want to know in the abstract, what did you find out? So what? Sometimes we say, what did the data reveal? And connect that back to your question. So you said you wanted to find this out, and now what did you find out? And I do have a couple, this is horrible PowerPoint, so please excuse that, way too many words on the screen. But I wanted to show you, this is from an actual research proposal abstract. And you see the 2 names of the students involved, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then the professor is Dr. Noel. I work with her. And you see the title of the research that they conducted. And I'm not going to read to you, but this abstract does do basically what I've described. And it is an abstract for a research proposal. Look at that, Flesch-Kincaid 13.8. I'll explain that a little more in just a moment, but I wanted you to just note that. So that's what we're looking for. You can go to the website for the Student Research Council and especially put in research abstracts, Student Research Council, and it will take you to, I think the most current one we have up is 2019. And you may look through the abstracts of students who presented in 2019. 2020, you can imagine, we had to shift the famous word pivot because we were pushed out of the actual face-to-face conference. And so we don't have abstracts up yet on that. By the way, this conference still is going to be virtual. We don't feel like we can take the chance on setting up a face-to-face at this point. Now, this is even worse PowerPoint, even more slides. But here's where you see, this one is about developing a mobile app. So if you want to take a screenshot maybe, or if you want to go look at the research abstracts yourself, but this one definitely would give you the same type of outline as I've already presented, but help you to see it even more if what you're wanting to share as a part of the conference. And we welcome that, development or design. So there you go. And let me go back. The Flesch-Kincaid on that one is a 10. And I'll talk about that again in just a moment. So again, the possible sections doesn't mean you'll have them all. You do have to work with 200 words or less. That is the submission total that you may have, 200 words or less. And then to submit, you do need to submit by March the 1st. The conference is April the 9th and 10th. And I have that it's tentative. The dates of the conference are not tentative. It's the actual time on especially the 9th. But your presentation would be a live a presentation on April 10th between 8 and 2 with judges that would join you in Zoom. I started to say live, and I'm not sure everybody considers that live, but that's as live as it's going to get. So you'll present and you'll have judges there with you, just like we would if we were in the conference center, the student center with the conference, the way we used to have it back in the day. So again, that March 1st deadline is very important. And there's one guideline that I want to make sure I point out. You're not allowed to submit more than one abstract where you're the only presenter, but you are allowed to be co-presenters on multiple projects. So one time only by yourself, but then if others are involved, you can be in several projects. And I don't know that I can explain that rule to you. I can think about it, but I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say why. That's just one of our guidelines. And then again, length of the abstract, no more than 200 words. And I would encourage you, this is my literacy professor self-talking, but I would encourage you to run spell check and readability on your abstract before you submit it. Also, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You probably know how to do spell check, but you may not have ever noticed readability on a document. but I also want to encourage you to check capitalization. And the best way to check that is to look in the literature. If you're not sure, and APA doesn't address every single word as to whether it should be capitalized or not. And so look in the literature that you're using. Probably you did a lit review of some kind, and go with how it's used in the literature. I do want to take just a moment, and I may have to reshare when I open this. Oh, okay. I'm going to pull it up from a different place then, if you'll just bear with me for just a moment. Can you all see that Word document, or do I need to reshare? Can you see
I
it?
cannot see it, Dr. Smith.
That usually, when you change documents, it usually makes you share again. So let's see if this will do it. How about now? You see a
Yes.
Word document?
Mhm.
Great. All right, so with the Word doc, to get, of course, the spell check, you go up to, I'm on a Mac, but it's going to be up here in tools, do your spelling and grammar. And when you run it, this is something I wrote to turn in for another purpose. But so my spelling and grammar check is complete because I'd already run it. But look at this box, and I hope you can see it well enough. We're at 200%, but right here, when the box comes up with the readability statistics, there's your Flesch-Kincaid. So this document is at an 11.3, but we do try at the college level, we always want to be at least at a 10. And that is 10th grade. But you know, once you reach a certain level in literacy, vocabulary and things sometimes throw it higher and higher. But the way that's determined, Flesch-Kincaid, is how many multisyllabic words you have in the abstract or the document, and how compound complex your sentences are. So if you write several choppy sentences and use low level, not too professional vocabulary, that's going to go down. If you get an 8 or a 9 and you want to go higher, then you're going to go in and use more professional vocabulary and increase your sentences so that they're longer. Now, let me go back into the other document. Are you seeing my PowerPoint or a nice ocean shot? My PowerPoint? Okay.
The guidelines. Yeah.
Okay, great. Hold on just a moment. And I'll get back into the presentation mode. Still seeing it okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so the link for submitting the abstract is here. And again, you all are professional Googlers, I'm sure. Just Google submit an abstract, WKU Student Research Council, if you don't want to take a screenshot or something here and keep it. But other than that, more information about the abstracts, again, if you'll just WKU information about abstract submissions, you'll go to this link. And I didn't have much success a while ago, so I'm not going to try it again. But if you have any problems, that just go to the Student Research Council and there's a contact email, and someone is sitting waiting to help you if you have any trouble with the submission or have any other questions. And I'm in, you know, you can find me at candy.smith@wku.edu. So feel free if there's something that I can help you with. So now I will say to you, what are your questions? And I'm going to come out of the PowerPoint so that I can see you. Anyone have a question?
I have one.
Okay, Laurel?
Yes. So I'm very new to this. This is my first time doing research. So I probably would be more on the development and proposal side of things. I'm writing a literature review as part of one of my augmentations, and I was hoping to possibly submit that. So in terms of methodology, would I kind of propose what I might do in a future paper that I would be developing?
You could do that. Actually, reviewing the literature is a type of research. Dr. Thompson, can you help me? I've forgotten what that methodology is called, where you go where you can go into an existing set of,
Ooh, I am going to have to look around.
and I'm not thinking of it right now, but that is certainly something that could be presented.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Where you go into the lit review and then tell us what you think you might do with that. I've seen more than one poster like that in the
Okay,
conference in the past. I
thank
may be
you.
thinking about a meta-analysis where you go into a database. I may not be thinking about actual lit review. But certainly lit review is usually one step in a research project.
Yes, that's kind of the
That we
goal, is
all,
that I start here and then
yes,
have a
that'd be
paper.
fine. That would be fine. Anyone else? Let's see, could you please show that submission link one more time? I sure can. See if I can go back to that. How about there? Can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
Setup has not been kind to me today. There it is.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Okay. Sure. And also, I'll just say to you, and I'm not sure about the dates. Again, maybe I can get a little help here. But there is a poster submission or a poster workshop. I think it's a week from today. If you'll go look on the Student Research Council page, the Student Research Conference, you'll see it. So a week from today. And there is one other.
Visualizing research data.
Yes, how to present your data.
Last one. I will put in the chat the dates on those.
Okay, that will be great. And again, if we can help you in any way, contact, I believe yours is Leah.Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Mhm.
mine is Candy with a K, candy.smith@wku.edu, and we'll be glad to help you. We don't want to keep you too long here, but you're welcome to stay with any questions that you have. And we are excited that you're here. And we're also very excited that you will hopefully submit and participate. We expect a really great conference. We have a really great keynote speaker to speak to you on the Friday afternoon via Zoom. But I think it's a conference that you will be very glad that you've been a part of. So any other questions? Okay, thank you all so much. I hope you're staying safe and warm in the snow, and all we needed was a crazy weather week on top of COVID, right? But we'll all make it. But maybe you have some time to think about that abstract while you're not able to be out.
I had to look up these dates,
Okay.
Dr. Smith. So I'll just, those of you that are logging off, very soon, I'm going to say them out loud, but I'm also going to put them in the chat. But we have how to make a poster on February 25th. These are all Thursdays.
We can,
Presenting research online, since that has a little bit of a different dynamic, is on March 4th. And then visualizing your research is March 11th.
and then this will also be posted, the recording of this Zoom session.
Correct.
So if you need to go back and look at anything, you should have access to that very soon. But again, don't hesitate. Both of us will be glad to take any email from you and send you in any direction that you feel like you need some support in. And of course, you have a faculty mentor probably that's also helping you prepare for the research presentation. So not to prolong, thank you all that have written in the chat. You are more than welcome. Glad to be here and glad to help you. And please let us be support to you in whatever way possible. And I'll leave it up just a little bit longer till those dates get put in the chat. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.